Here's part 2 of my 1950s table saw restoration. I start by laying everything I'm going to paint on these 2x4s here, and I ended up sandblasting the zero clearance cover because it had some heavy rust and I wanted to get rid of it. That way it would paint up better and sit flush. After that, I used the air compressor to blow off any dust that was remaining. That way there's nothing to interfere with the painting. I used paint thinner on the table because of the rust treatment that I used, and it just got that off and made it better to paint. Then I taped over the serial and logo plates, that way they wouldn't get painted over. I used etch primer for this, that way I figured it'd be a little bit easier to use and cover up some of the rust spots. I applied more paint generally in places that had more rust than others, and everything ended up getting 2 coats. I didn't paint the tabletop with the etch primer because I didn't want to add too much thickness, and that way then some of the other tools might not work as well with it, so I only painted that black. I sanded some of the high spots that were still left over after the previous rust treatment, and then applied more thinner to get all of the dust particles off of it and the remaining rust treatment residue. Then I turned the table over and gave it a coat of paint to help keep the underside from rusting, and this is just a random can. Then I started painting all the things that were going to be black, and I didn't paint the body because the color of the primer matched the original color of the body better than black did. Then I turned to the mechanism. Everything got rust treatment, penetrating oil, and carb cleaner, and this is to get as much residual gunk off and to help clean it up. Then when I was finally done, I added heavy motor oil to all the moving parts to ensure that they wouldn't rust anymore, and also to make sure that they moved easily. Then with the paint dry, I cut the boards that would go across and that the body would attach to. I used 2x6s and I had to cut 2 45-degree angles on each side, that way they would fit into the stand. Then I marked the locations for the mounts and drilled the holes with a Forstner bit. And after drilling the holes, I attached the body to the boards with bolts. After mounting the mechanism to the underside of the table, I attached the table back to the body. I replaced a spacer that was in the axle that had slid out. After that, I replaced the plug end that was on the motor. Lastly, I attached the motor mount, which the drill died, so I ended up having to tighten by hand. Then I put the motor on, and finally I put the belt in. Lastly, I put the blade in, reattached the zero clearance cover, and reattached the knob in the front. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If you enjoyed the video, please like, favorite, share, and subscribe.